Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today at BlockDown. I'm here to talk about how we can bring blockchain and digital currency into the mainstream. More specifically, I want to talk about key management and recovery, which represents one of the most often discussed challenges facing our industry today, and use this example to discuss how we can make things easier and more comfortable for the user. Making blockchain in general easy to use is one of our top priorities, and it's something that collectively, as an ecosystem, we need to get better at. By making it user-friendly, simple, and familiar to consumers, we can drive adoption and use. So today, I'm going to talk about the challenge, why it's important, and the steps we've taken on Stellar to solve it. So first, I want to talk about the principles of building products with users in mind, and where we're lacking today in blockchain. Next slide. When we think about product development, the development of any product, whether that be in blockchain or elsewhere, there are a few key principles to keep in mind. So first, we need to solve user problems. Sometimes users don't know what they need, but they do know when something is a stumbling block for them. Second, keep it simple. Allow the user to feel like the product was built for them. Don't make them learn or have to jump through a bunch of hoops. You'll lose them and you're going to impact your drop-off rates. And finally, user experience. Particularly in new technologies, user experience determines a product's success and adoption. So when we think about how these principles are applied in blockchain today, it's clear we need more focus on this. We don't need users to understand exactly how this foundational technology works. We just need them to know that it works for them. So every developer in blockchain needs to heed this warning. If you want to increase adoption of your product, make your product easy to use and user-friendly. That means making the UX feel comfortable and creating a flow that is seamless. So today, with that in mind, let's move to key management, as this is a crucial part of users feeling comfortable with the new tech stack that we're all building today. Now, I'm going to focus on the piece that I know best, which is Stellar, and first go into what keys look like on Stellar. Next slide. This is what an account master key looks like. It's got the S in front of it, so you know it's the secret key. When users open an account today, this is an example of the key they're given, and then they're told to write down. But what we've been told our entire digital lives is that writing down passwords is dangerous, exposes you to risks, and you just shouldn't do it. But that's often the best option users have when transacting in crypto. In fact, it's what users are told to do time and time again. It's counterintuitive to everything they've ever learned, not to mention it breeds skepticism in the security of transacting in this space. And it doesn't keep the user focused on the product experience. Go back and think about one of our principles. It takes them out of that experience into a new medium, whether that be paper or some type of digital note software. Problems of lost keys abound in crypto. Misplaced where they were written down keys, locked out of wallets, lost phones, and whether this is an actual problem that the vast majority of users suffer through, or just a perceived problem that is talked about, it doesn't matter, because one of the things I get asked all the time by regulators and users is, but what if the key is lost? Doesn't that mean the user loses everything? And how many stories like that have you heard or been asked about? It's a problem we have to collectively overcome and solve for. But why has it been approached so differently? Well, it's because we're transacting in digital value here and not just content. And because transactions are final. We want it to be harder to authenticate yourself so that no one loses the value they have in their wallets. But while it can be harder under the hood, it doesn't have to be so much harder for the user on the front end. Let's be honest. How many people today remember their child's 10-digit phone number? Let alone 56-character account numbers. But these keys are part of the cryptography tools that make blockchain so unique and innovative. So let's explore the role of keys on Stellar a bit more so we can get to the key recovery solution. Next slide. Stellar accounts have signers. A signer is a key, like the one we just showed, that can approve transactions for a Stellar account, sort of like how someone can be a signer for a bank account. They can sign checks. The master key is the default signer of the account. If you get a new account, it's got one signer, which is the master key. Whoever has the master key is in possession of the account and has control of that account. In other words, they are the custodian of the account. That's an important point, and I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. Accounts can also have other signers in addition to or instead of the master key. Accounts can be configured to let signers approve transactions individually or require one or more keys to co-sign a transaction before it's approved. You'll hear people use the term multi-sig to refer to accounts that use multiple signers. Imagine this like a shared checking account with a partner. You both have the ability to sign on the account. And can you click forward one, please? And then if you have a business account, you might want two signers to act as co-signers, as we've done here on this. So both numbers have to be there. The network allows either setup for each account. Now, this may seem complex, especially for the average user. That's why wallets serve such an important role in making this technology user-friendly. Next slide. Key management is the core of what a wallet does. A wallet's job is to hold your Stellar account by providing a few essential functions. Store your key, protect your key, help you use your key to sign transactions, and prevent you from losing your key. Wallets are important to simplifying the user experience. They can be the mask that users so that users no user needs to see the blockchain underbelly. But the wallet has to be built with the user in mind to make this happen, which is why we've spearheaded SEP 30, which guides developers on how to build wallets on Stellar with the user experience in mind. Next slide. First, for those that may be unfamiliar with Stellar governance, let me explain that SEP stands for Stellar Ecosystem Proposal. SEPs deal with changes to the standards, protocols, and methods used in the ecosystem built on top of the Stellar network. SEP 30 is an ecosystem standard designed to provide a common pattern for wallets to adopt, leading to key management capabilities that are a huge improvement for the end user for any wallet. Here's the idea behind it. Remember when we were just talking about multi-sig? Well, we are leveraging a multi-sig feature of Stellar to create a non-custodial process where the user does not have to make the choice of either entrusting a single third-party custodian to hold her backup key, and in the process, give up sole access and control of her funds, or be on her own to maintain a backup key. She can now split that responsibility between two third-party entities, giving them co-signer status together without giving either of them custody or control over the funds. Now, that's because through this process, the user will authenticate herself with both third parties who will help the user regain access to her account by verifying her identity with those non-custodial entities. In the same way with email, you don't have to write down a password to recover your account. You show you're the right person by providing other proof of identity. But in this case, thanks to multi-sig, SEP 30 sets up two or more entities that are required to sign a transaction to help a user get a new key. So what is happening is that you're exchanging your authentication for a new key. You say, hey, here's my authorization, example, here's my SMS code you just sent me to my phone. And then by validating this authentication with the two separate entities, this allows you to add a new key to unlock your account. Throughout this process, no one entity other than the user ever has custody or control of any key with control of the account. And I want to emphasize that the user is always in control, and the non-user entities, or the key recovery service providers, as we call them, only ever sign the transactions a user gives to them. It's not like a system where once the user unlocks both entities that they can act on the account without a user's permission. The user interacts with each entity directly and independently to sign a single transaction that creates a new key. The entities do not interact with each other as part of this process. So once the recovery process is complete, the old master key gets thrown away and becomes worthless. Because instead of worrying about old keys, we've generated new keys, and they are additional signers. The account remains, the public key remains, its signers, the keys, just get swapped out. So the TLDR here is all of this is what this process essentially means. A user doesn't have to maintain a backup key on her own. Instead of backing up a key, Step 30 helps the user to get a new key for her account using her phone or email address. She can recover her key in ways that are familiar to her today in other digital relationships, like with her email. We're building a product that brings this solution to life. And maybe by going through that product, it'll help show how the process works. So next slide. So Vibrant is a wallet that will soon be available in Latin America, where users will be able to hold, share, convert, and send value. We've implemented Step 30 within the Vibrant wallet. So I want to talk through what key management and recovery looks like in practice with Vibrant. It starts when a user sets up her account. When our user, we'll call her Alice, signed up for an account on Vibrant, the app on her phone generates a master key and creates an account and that key. Alice's phone also generates a second key that we're going to call the device key and makes that device key the signer of the account and discards the master key. The app on her phone never gives the master key or device key to anyone. It never leaves her phone. She can have multiple device keys for the same account depending on how many devices she sets up with the wallet. But what is actually happening in the background as Alice registers? That's the next slide. As Alice registers, her account is created and a public key, that's the top key here, is created, as well as the private key, which is the private key is given a weight of 20. It's the full weight necessary to complete a transaction in Vibrant. During onboarding, Alice also registers the account with 2 recovery servers and gives each server the ability to approve key recovery transaction as co-signers. Each server has their own key that they generate themselves. Each of these keys is only given a weight of 10. So they are essentially co-signers on the account, and only if they both act does the transaction have the full weight of 20. The Vibrant app proves to the 2 servers that it has authority over the account by signing a stellar transaction, and tells the 2 recovery servers that anyone who can prove possession of Alice's phone number or email should be allowed to ask them for assistance with key recovery. But it's important to point out that these recovery servers must both act for this solution to work. Vibrant configures the Stellar account so that any transaction has to be approved with keys together that provide a weight of 20. Alice's key always has a weight of 20 and can approve transactions by itself. The recovery server keys only carry a weight of 10 and are useless alone. Recovery server 1 has no control over Alice's account on its own, but if both recovery server 1 and 2 approve a transaction, the creation of the new key, it will be accepted by the network. In the case of Vibrant, one of the recovery servers is hosted by Vibrant, and the other is hosted by a third party with whom the user, Alice, has an independent contractual relationship with. This relationship structure means that the wallet is non-custodial because the servers that Vibrant hosts do not have control over the account on their own, nor do the servers hosted by the third party. So this is all the technical setup, but Alice hasn't seen any of this happening. She's just registered her account, agreed to the terms of service and the privacy policies for the key recovery servers on her device, as she would with any other app. Next slide. So now, let's imagine that Alice has lost her phone and she needs to get a new one. She buys the phone and then begins downloading her apps from the cloud. With this new phone, she goes through the same process of generating a device key and signing into Vibrant. But the device key is not a signer on her account, so her device cannot approve transactions yet. The Vibrant app talks to the recovery server and asks the server to sign a transaction that makes her new device key a signer on the account, and then does the same thing with the third-party recovery server. The third party is operating independently, so they will ask Alice to prove she owns her phone number or email address. Once proven, the server signs the transaction, and the transaction has now been approved with a weight of 20 and can be submitted to the network. Alice's new device key is now a signer on the account and has control of the account. But all of this technical background, recovery servers talking back and forth with the wallet, it's completely obscured from Alice. What Alice experiences is the same user experience that we've all grown accustomed to, for example, when you reset your password on an email account. So why does key recovery matter? Next slide. As I said at the beginning, this is about user experience. User experience is what is going to drive adoption and growth. Investing in a good user experience is worth all of our time. Forrester says, for every dollar spent in UX results in a return of $100. PricewaterhouseCoopers has said one bad user experience can lose customers. 32% of customers would leave a brand they loved even after just one bad experience. That sets a really high bar for an emerging technology like ours. Even the most passionate can abandon it if we don't meet their growing expectations of a digital experience. To drive adoption, we need to show users that blockchain is easy to use. And frankly, they don't even need to know that they're using blockchain at all. Most users of the internet don't really understand the inner workings of the internet. I believe the use of blockchain will be much the same, but users will take advantage of this technology because of the positive change it makes in our lives. But to show them that positive change, we need to make sure they have a positive user experience. Doing key management in the ways I've laid out today shows how we can make this process easy for consumers and, importantly, familiar, in the same ways they engage in so many other aspects of their digital lives to authenticate and validate their identity. It makes them feel more secure as they transact. We believe that with the focus on user experience, we are going to bring blockchain into the mainstream. So let's make it happen. And for us specifically at Stellar, it's critical in how we want to set the new global payment standard. Next slide. So I want to thank you for attending this talk. And I want you to know that there are lots of really, really great engineers who spend a lot of time on this. So email us with questions at developers@stellar.org. Check out our documentation on GitHub. It's really, really great. And also check out our events page, because as we're going to have a technical talk on this very topic in not too distant future. So thank you.
Danielle, incredible talk, very interesting and very valid. I've been in the blockchain space for a very, very long time, and the user friendliness of this technology is horrible, and it's still kind of horrible, which is driving me crazy and everybody around me. I also have my own blockchain project, and we tried to make it as user friendly as possible, but when it comes to actual like wallets and storing your cryptocurrencies, it's a very big deal. And just thinking about it is very intimidating. What do you think, listen, not just for Stellar, because I think obviously you're on the right path, but what are the next steps for people? What would be your suggestion to blockchain projects that are building right now? What are the next steps to help people get involved easier?
I really think it has so much to do with bringing in some amazing designers and product folks into our space. We already have amazing technologists and folks that are focused on the cryptography and making all the technology strong. And I think that the more designers and product people that we bring in, the even better our technology is going to get, because it is going to become more user friendly. I mean, look, this is no different than how the internet was formed years ago, right? I mean, it started by being incredibly complicated to engage with the internet. There started with lots of challenges just to even get on it. And then once on, you couldn't even be able to explore like you can now. So this isn't new or unique to blockchain. This is just how technology grows. So I think the more folks we can bring in from other parts of tech, the better it's going to be for us.
Fabulous. So we have a lot of comments and questions coming in. We have time for a couple of questions if you're willing to engage, if you have a few moments.
Sure, I do.
Super. Okay, we'll go into the chat right now. Will Stellar be usable with wallets like this? So I think the examples that you had there on your slides.
Yeah, well, actually, the wallet that I showed is a Stellar-based wallet, Vibrant. But yeah, I mean, there are wallets that already are built on Stellar, and they can implement Step 30 as well and do the same kind of key recovery solution. Fabulous.
All right. Not relevant to keys and adoption and usability, but is there anything, any exciting partnerships with Stellar coming up, or that you're excited about that has already been announced?
Oh gosh, I love, we just started investing in a couple of companies. I think we invested in D-Stock earlier this year, and their app is going to launch. And I'm just really excited about it because it's actually going to bring a lot of opportunity to some emerging markets. But there's so many new partners that continue to build on Stellar. My favorite are the ones that we actually don't yet know about because it's such an open source and decentralized network that they build on it and then let us know after they've already done it. But I do want you to watch for these new. I think Vibrant, which is the app that the Vibrant team is launching. I think in the next few weeks is something that is also pretty exciting for Latin America because it will allow you to hold and to store value in different geographies. So there's not one in specific. There's just so many different companies out there that are building and being creative on Stellar. I just want to see more. I think it's awesome to see it continue to grow.
I also think it's pretty awesome, just the whole blockchain space. I'm always amazed, like year after year, how far we've actually come in just, a short period of time. Lots of expectations from investors and stuff like that, but technology takes some time. And at the rate that the blockchain and crypto space is growing is incredible to me. And I'm a technologist myself, so trust me, we're doing pretty good. You just mentioned Latin America, and a lot of the talks today and panels were about different regions of the world. Stellar, sorry. Are you looking at specific regions right now that you're focusing on? I know blockchains like Neo are very Chinese focused, and then they've got a bit of a European arm. But Stellar itself, are you really focused on a certain region right now?
So we've been supporting the development of the Vibrant app, and that's been focused in Latin America. So we've brought in some new anchors and some new players to be able to be in that space. But the thing that's so awesome about this technology, and it's not just our network, but all decentralized networks where folks can build on them, is that the actual participants help us to determine where we're going to focus. So we've seen a lot of growth recently in Africa, which it's just so exciting to me to think about how many people there are unbanked and that we can actually really be able to deliver some tools to them to be able to engage in this global ecosystem, this financial system. So we have been focused a lot on growing in Latin America, but we also it's just happening sort of on its own. And so we're now more focused on Africa as well. But we don't have a singular focus, but we do have limited resources internally. So we try to get those resources focused on an activity and then, be opportunistic about what else we need to do.
Yeah, certainly. Talking about Africa, there is a partnership that my project, we do artificial intelligence on the blockchain. We have many members, thousands of members across the globe that are structuring data. We just partnered with Acoin and Acon to build opportunity centers in Africa, which my project has already done in the country of Georgia, giving physical locations to people to get accelerated learning programs, work on our network, and then learn business development to kind of create a sustainable hub in these environments. But Acoin is building on the Stellar network. Do you have anything to say about Acoin and Acon and their choice of building with Stellar? And is there any involvement with Stellar Foundation with them at this point?
Well, I have to say, I think it's pretty remarkable what their mission is. And I've paid a lot of attention to what they've been doing. They have built a lot of this on their own. I think they chose the right technology stack to be able to do it. They chose Stellar. And I just love that every day it seems like I see something new about what they're focused on and about how big their mission is. And so from our standpoint, given that we're focused on this notion of creating equitable access to the financial system, they're moving this mission forward for us. So I love that. And I want to see more projects grow and develop like that, like yours, for example, just what you're doing. I think the more we focus on those countries that don't have access to the things that we take for granted in other markets, I think it's just going to grow this economy and just make the world a stronger place.
Yes, I fully agree. Yeah, there's builders. And like you said earlier, it's fun to have the builders build and then kind of announce or showcase who they're building on. And I think Acon and Acoin is doing kind of the same thing. They're just building all kinds of stuff. They're partnering with everybody. They've chosen Stellar, a very educated and smart move for what they are doing, but still blockchain agnostic. They just want to create opportunity. And I think we all do, at least the real players in the space, we all just want to make the world a better, more accessible place for people. So listen, thank you so very much. Really important chat there. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, fantastic to speak with you. And thank you for joining BlockDown.